We are just 13 days away from the NFL trade deadline, and the Denver Broncos dodge a massive bullet, passing on a player who I don't think makes this team better, but a lot of fans wanted us to go out and get, who falls to the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to break down that deal, a deal that is still possibly out there that the Broncos could make at the trade deadline. Rampant speculation all over the place. We get some definitive news on the injury front, that and so much more in this video. If you're new to this channel, I'm Ben. I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan, and if you like the Broncos, it helps me out a ton if you would like and subscribe. So if you are anything like me, you have been getting phantom buzzes like on your phone or your watch. I kept feeling like my phone vibrating just because I wanted to check like, oh, we got Cooper Kupp, we got Njoku, we got somebody, we made a move. And like, I've just been refreshing Twitter all day. And what the news that did come down is that the Kansas City Chiefs convinced themselves to go out and get a 32-year-old wide receiver who used to be one of the best in the entire game in DeAndre Hopkins. And I think this is great news for the Denver Broncos because I think this pacifies the Chiefs enough to think that they have got the dude. They've got that missing piece with Rashee Rice out, with Hollywood Brown out, with Juju Smith-Schuster out, with Pacheco out. They know that if they want to even make it out of the first round of the playoffs or beat the Broncos twice, which I don't think is going to happen, they need some help for Patrick Mahomes. That Giselle taught us that quarterback can't both throw and catch the ball. And so they convinced themselves to go out and get DeAndre Hopkins. And I think this is great news on a number of fronts. Number one, a lot of people were saying that the Broncos should go out and get him. And I just do not think that he is that big of an upgrade over any of the dudes that we have. And I think if we look at him at 32 years old and him or Devon Vele, I think we still haven't seen Vele's ceiling yet. I think Courtland Sutton at only 29 years old is just as good of a wide receiver as DeAndre Hopkins. He no longer has that burner ability to get deep. While he did have 1,000 yards passing last year, or receiving rather, I just don't think he's him anymore. And I think that as the Broncos look ahead at our schedule, there's only one game remaining where you're even scared whatsoever about the opposing team's wide receivers, and that's against the Cincinnati Bengals late in the season. And I think we're up to the test, but we've seen Patrick Surtain and Riley Moss lock down way better receivers than DeAndre Hopkins. And the thing that makes me extremely excited about this is that there was a real chance that the Kansas City Chiefs actually wanted, and actually not just a real chance, like this is a true statement. The Kansas City Chiefs really wanted Cooper Kupp, and that is a matchup that really scares me because I think Cooper Kupp has an ability. He is an elite route runner. He is twitchy, and he is open fast and immediately, and I think that is a absolute treasure if you are a quarterback in the NFL. And so I love the fact that the Chiefs did not make this move, because that's something where you're talking about Jaquan McMillian locking him down rather than Patrick Surtain, who I don't think he's going to have any trouble whatsoever against a 32-year-old DeAndre Hopkins. So I think this is great for us that the Kansas City Chiefs actually settled on DeAndre Hopkins, and he's not going to be what I think they think he is going to be. Also, I think the good news for the Broncos as well, and not pulling the Hopkins trade, is that this idea of maybe getting Cooper Kupp is still possible. Diana Rossini is saying that they want a second-round pick for him. I think that is way too rich when we see just how George Payton has plucked Quinn Meinert's late, third-round pick, and Riley Moss as a later-round pick. Like, he has an ability to hit in the draft, but if for some reason we could get Cooper Kupp for a third-round draft pick, I think I would do that, just because I think what that would mean for Bo Nix this year, just having a totally different type of receiver than Courtland or Vele, or even Josh Reynolds. Like, he is open immediately. We've heard Sean Payton talk time and time again that Bo Nix's footwork is probably the biggest problem that he has now. And his footwork is never a problem on his first read. It's when his first read isn't open, he gets a little panicky and dances around a little bit and doesn't set his feet again. And if you have a Cooper Kupp, you are hitting your first read most of the time because he's an elite route runner, especially early on in those quick developing plays. I think he could be the slant god that Sean Payton has wanted for a long time and could kind of be that joker role for the Denver Broncos. So good news that our rival didn't get him. Good news that he's still on the market, and I think that's great. Now, other good news that we have is we have a pivotal game at home against a team that we should absolutely trounce, and that is the Carolina Panthers. And more advanced analytics are coming in that just make you laugh about all of the preseason predictions about how bad this team could be and was going to be, because right now you're having CBS come out and be like, there's no better team in the trenches. Like, they literally are saying that after the slander they threw on us all year. And when meaningful football is starting to be played, what wins football games? It's the trenches. And so we have the highest paid offensive line in the league, and we are tied for the least number of sacks. And we're not playing against teams like the Panthers and teams like the Titans and teams like the Raiders all the time. We've played 3 elite defenses who get after the passer better than anyone else. And Bo Nix had, a 3-game stretch where he didn't get sacked. He didn't even get touched on Thursday Night Football. And so you're looking here that we are the best team at keeping Bo upright and not allowing sacks. We know that's Sean Payton's biggest pet peeve in a quarterback is when they take sacks. So part of that's on Bo's escapability. Part of that's on the offensive line and our trenches being great. Then you go to the other side. It's like, well, it's not only our offensive line is good at stopping sacks, our defensive line eats hungry, you guys, and we are the second highest sacking team in the NFL, and that is just going to continue because your favorite edge rusher's favorite edge rusher is coming back, and that's Baron Browning, and he is comped to you heard Justin Simmons say Baron Browning reminds him a lot of Von Miller. You hear Nick Bonito in an interview earlier this week talk about how good Baron Browning is and like that he is probably the best of all of the edge rushers. And we haven't even got to see him because he was on IR for 4 weeks. And so he is just going to continue to get healthier and healthier. And then we are talking about a platoon of guys who can get off and get after the passer. And we're also talking about John Franklin Myers, the beast. Malcolm Roach has stepped up and been the guy that we thought he could be. So it's just incredible for me to see that probably the 2 most important positions for winning football when it comes down to it is, can you protect the quarterback and can you get after the quarterback? And truly, we are the best team at both of those things. And that is something that you should just be insanely hyped about if you're a Broncos fan. On the injury front, as we take a look at the injury report of both teams, it's amazing to me to see after this 10-day mini bye for the Denver Broncos, our injury report looks super clean and amazing. We're getting Patrick Surtain back this week. We were up 33-3 on the New Orleans Saints on a road game on a short week without the best player on defense in the entire National Football League, and he is back, and that's incredible. And he's back against a very indecisive quarterback who does not feel confident whatsoever. It's going to be Bryce Young for this week. So Andy Dalton was their starting quarterback. He was in a car accident with his family and has a messed up thumb. And so we are indeed playing Bryce Young. Parts of that scare me a little bit. I like being able to prepare. We've seen, I think part of the reason we lost that game to the Chargers was because Vance Joseph wasn't ready for what that game was going to look like without Patrick Surtain. And so I don't love the fact that we aren't fully prepped for Bryce and that 10-day mini bye, we probably prepped the first chunk of that for Andy Dalton, and that's not going to be who we're seeing on Sunday. But I do think this is enough advance warning, and luckily this is a get-right game for the Denver Broncos playing a very indecisive young quarterback with all the confidence out of him. So very excited about that matchup, excited for our health and what that could mean. I think the other sneaky thing that we're going to just continue to see more and more of is just seeing Bo Nix used for what he can do that is actually elite, and that is get him outside of the pocket here and moving. And I'm just loving as more and more of these advanced analytics are coming in, just seeing that Bo Nix has more dynamic rushing yards on design runs than pretty much anyone in the NFL not named Lamar Jackson. And so you're looking that he's doing better than Jalen Hurts, better than Anthony Richardson, better than Josh Allen, better than Caleb Williams when it comes to moving the ball on purpose. And that, again, we have had a loaded front part of our schedule. And so I feel like those numbers mean even more because we're not playing against just turnstile defenses. We're playing against some elite defenses, and we're talking Bo Nix in week 6 is elite and is a different type of quarterback, and that's exciting. Another reason I'm not whatsoever nervous about this week or really against any other receiving group until we get to that Bengals game is just the fact that we know that Vance Joseph is leading the league when it comes to cover zero coverage, meaning he's bringing the house and trusting his corners in man defense. But it's like man defense or zone defense, it does not really matter. Your Denver Broncos secondary is one of the best in the league. And so this chart here coming out is just showing how good your secondary is in man and how good they are in zone. And looking at this, that we are amongst the best in both of those categories. And so I think that is a great statistic to have, that you're looking best offensive line in the league, best defensive line in the league, and best secondary in the league. And so you're telling me a rookie quarterback can't just keep getting better every single week and have those things propel you to the playoffs? You're crazy if you say that that's the case. Like, the Denver Broncos, with 3 of the best position groups in the league, have every right to say that we're going to make the playoffs. And after this week, we're going to be 5-3 with a road stretch here that I think can truly prove the rest of the NFL wrong about who we are as a team. So I think we are making the playoffs this year, and I'm super pumped to be doing it with all y'all, because we never stopped believing. Got it.